Thank you. Thank you for this very, very generous introduction. We were trying to figure out how I'm going to do three things: have a clicker, microphone, and my notes. Apparently, AI isn't there to support us that way, so we have this wonderful piece that really reminds you that I'm going to play music, but I'm not. So, thank you for this wonderful invite. I don't know where the organizers are, but I congratulate you on really putting together this fascinating discussion about artificial intelligence. This is important. My role is going to be to attempt to provoke a discussion about AI and how it impacts the world, but more so how it impacts us, the humans, our species essentially. What I will not do is try to explain what AI is. I'm hoping that many of you already know, and those of you that don't have seen the list of the upcoming speakers, there's a lot of capable people who are going to set what AI is about. The only thing I will say simply that think of AI as computer systems that mimic human intelligence, or at least they attempt to mimic human intelligence. They try to learn, problem solve, and adapt. But first I want to speak to you about speed of change. And this is going to be, the pace of AI development is really unprecedented. We haven't seen anything of that nature before. Generations before us haven't seen anything of that nature before. And since apes turned into humans, we haven't seen anything of that nature before. So it's so fast that things that become new before we actually learn about them, forget about adapting, but before we learn about them, the world moves forward. It would be similar to this. If the first vehicle was introduced in 1885 when you're still riding on the horses, and then the next day Waymo was introduced. That would have been really crazy for people in 1885. But it's that type of a transformation that takes place today in our world. Many of these changes people say are evolutionary, but actually they're quite revolutionary. And as with any revolution, revolutions are not always perfect, if you know what I mean. They can be messy, they're going to break things, but in all of that, they're also going to be introducing to new ideas, new hopes and new careers. But before we get there, I want to focus on what happens now. So you have this study by McKinsey that says within the next, essentially 5 years, because it's like half into 2024, so the next 5 years, we're going to lose about 1 billion jobs. Why is it significant? It's because it's roughly about 11% of all jobs on the planet. So if we count 3, 6, yeah, all right. So on each row that you're sitting, that would mean at least one of you will be impacted. You're either going to lose your job or you need to at least reskill. So this is a significant change from whatever has happened decades before we got here. This brings me to the point of that because we're talking about reskilling, it doesn't necessarily mean that AI is going to completely replace any of us. It's going to be, at least for a foreseeable future, it's going to be, think of it as a partnership. So we're going to have a partner in AI, but this is not going to be a simple partner. This is going to be a partner who's not really forgiving. So it's going to ask you to step up. But it's also going to be a very lucrative partnership. And what I mean by lucrative is this. So these transformative opportunities are also going to create almost like a hockey stick when it comes to opportunities in the space of AI. But not only in AI itself, but also in all the verticals, economic verticals that we know. But it's going to turn the economic verticals on its head. And what I mean by that is the following. In the past, we thought of industry verticals and thought of how to integrate AI to make these verticals more efficient or people more productive. Now we ought to think of AI as a foundation from which the previous verticals are going to be reborn and then new opportunities are going to be born. So this part is critical to understand what type of changes we should expect from this. And again, it brings me back to the speed of change. I like to emphasize this because, you know, we like to take our times, you know, we get up in the mornings, have coffee, tea, you know, breakfast, maybe we won't go to work, or maybe, you know, it's like we'll do studies over 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. But the challenge is real on how we're going to be transforming ourselves. If we take one of the most popular developments in this recent past, and let's look at GPT, right? So when GPT-3 came in, think of it as a toddler. GPT-4, many of you have probably used and know. Think of it as a high school student, and you went from a toddler to a high school student within a year. And then what's expected in GPT-5, which is going to be roughly about end of the year or early next year, you're going to go from high school, at least that's what's being said, you're going to go from high school to a PhD within a year as well. Well, this is how we do it now. It takes us roughly about 10 years for any high school student to go to PhD, which means the speed of technology is, at least in this form, an order of magnitude, 10 times faster than any human will obtain knowledge. So it brings a challenge. It's a serious thing, but if you look at it as a real challenge, I think there's also a lot of opportunities in that. Well, all right. So we'll do it without that. Hopefully you can hear me. But all the electricity, so I'll try to speak up so we can actually. So I can work with this. Yes. So we're going to try. I don't know how much I can project my voice, but it's like I hope you can hear me. I wanted to show you a few things on types of changes that we expect. But first, I wanted to say, the nations like Armenia, AI is an incredible opportunity, and it holds a strategic importance. And what I mean by this is, so its impact across industries, including military, is also unprecedented. And by leveraging this with care and leveraging this with core technology, nations with strong AI capabilities will have simpler times of dealing with crisis, and they'll have a better time to navigate a crisis. But AI impacts wide variety, right? From education to biotechnology to healthcare to everything else. And I wanted to show you a few things that have taken place in this time frame, so I can see instead of showing this slide. So if we look at healthcare, I wanted to show you that the natural language levels have almost come to human level. And those of you who are using ChatGPTs or equal types of solutions, you've seen that happen. So what happens now in identifying diseases or cancer, some of the solutions are 97% accurate. So it's almost like a human being. So let's say if a human being, well, we're going to be very optimistic, we're going to say human being is 100% and this thing is 97%. But it does it in a fraction of time. So if we were to look and analyze all of those things, it would take us years, it takes it minutes. So this changes whole perception
and how we do early interventions and treatment, it changes that. Another very interesting thing that I wanted to show you is about Bank of America. So Bank of America implemented this chat box called Erica. And this chat box, so now it handles 90% of all customer inquiries. Essentially 10 million interactions a month. That's a significant change when it comes to customer service. When it comes to your human, your labor force, and when it comes to, as a business, your downside and upside of the business. And the next thing that I wanted to show you was about Amazon Go. So it's a store, think of it as a supermarket, and actually there is one next to my house in LA. It's really fascinating because when I go to shop in the supermarket, and last time when my team was in LA, I took them for this experience. The only thing I do, I go to the supermarket, I put my palm on a scanner. That's all I do, and it takes a second. It's not that you gotta constantly put in, sometimes you try to open your phone and you cannot, but, so you put your palm on a scanner and just walk in. And then you pick anything you want in the store and just walk out. That's it. That's your experience. You don't have to first carry the bag. You can take it, you can have your bag, you go and you put it in your bag, and you just walk away. So my time in this store, it's Whole Foods actually, but it's, for those of you who know, Whole Foods was bought by Amazon, so some of them they converted into these Amazon Go types of technology. The interesting thing is, now I also know how long it takes me to shop. It takes me about 5 minutes and 27 seconds on an average. Because every time I get out, it sends me statistics. This is how much time you spend in the store. And then it also sends you statistics. This month, on an average, you spend this much time in the store. And this is fascinating. But these are some of the interesting changes that come into foray here. Naturally, all of these solutions that we speak about, they're going to impact the labor force. Well, like it's always happened, like it's happened in the past, I don't know how many of you check the zodiac when you're trying to check the weather today. I think most of you are looking at the recent satellite and sensing technology, although it's not perfect, I get it. Alright, so let's see where we are. Alright, so we know this. Now you're familiar with this as well. You know this. All right, so you don't know this, but we're coming to this. So what I wanted to say that the changes will impact the job. So I forgot that I wasn't speaking with that mic. This is loud. All right, so, but there's a twist to it. But by the way, this is for next year. So next year, we're going to lose about 85 million jobs, but we're also going to gain 70 million, or 97 million jobs here. But before getting into this, I wanted to show you some of the jobs that we actually should lose and will lose. Manufacturing. So robotics is taking into factories a lot. You know, it's like all companies are thinking, how do we going to take robots into factories? Foxconn, for those of you who don't know, is one of the largest vendors for Apple. So if your iPhones, your iPads, and all of that, Foxconn plays a big role. So imagine that they've replaced in a single factory. I want to emphasize this. Single factory. How many people live in Dilijan? Who knows? But 10,000, 12,000. So in one factory, you replace 60,000 people with robots. It's like 5 times of one city that everyone loves in Armenia. So this is critical to understand as to how this technology changes things that we know. Trading, I like trading a lot, but so Goldman Sachs is one of the largest banking institutions out there. Went from 600 equity traders to 2 because of new software that they have in their arsenal. And driving is the most common thing everyone speaks about. So this is only for the United States statistics, but imagine this is going to happen anywhere. You have
nearly 70% of all truck drivers are going to be replaced by autonomous vehicles. So these are, again, are going to be jobs that are going to be possibly lost. But what I wanted to point that not all jobs leave permanently, and this is why you had that 85 million versus 97 million. Many of the jobs you will lose, but you're going to gain others because technology essentially, as I said earlier, revolutions break things, break walls, break boundaries. They also bring new opportunities, new ideas. And these are some of the things. So if you think of medical transcriptions, you don't need this any longer because computer software does this quite well. But now you need a healthcare specialist, and this is a hybrid, a person who has deep understanding and knowledge in healthcare, but also is a technologist. So these are some of the expected changing. AI is a game changer, no doubt. But here's the truth. Don't think of it that it's going to simply replace you. Think of it as it's going to become, again, a collaborator, someone that's going to enhance who you are, what you're doing. It's a must to think of it that way because defeatism isn't helpful or useful here. But I don't want to understate the importance of this because it's also a wake-up call to push ourselves further and better educate ourselves by equipping ourselves with the right knowledge. It's critical, and I want to speak to you about knowledge here, and I want to say, what happened? What did I do? Okay. I want to say the following about the knowledge here. When we talk about AI and we bring it in the context, in the local context, and it's always important, to speak about something in 30,000 feet up, but also bring it and make it grounded. What is this for us here in Armenia? And those of you who are not from Armenia, I think you have similar questions. What is it for you in the environment that you live in? And this is important for us to look at. Should we prioritize AI education in schools? Strengthen math and computer science, promote AI careers, and also another very interesting thing, develop gender equal employment paths. So now you would say, you know what, it's the right thing to do because we're at FemInno. And yes, it's the right thing to say at FemInno. But it's also, I'm sorry? It's FemInno and beyond. And beyond as well. It's the right thing to say. But also there is truth, especially for small societies like Armenia. If 50% of your population is not properly educated, is not properly set on the pathway to success, for a nation to be competitive, you want to package that and put it aside. You can't ever speak about competitiveness. You can't ever speak about proper prosperity. All of this becomes a history before it becomes a reality. So this is why it's important to look at all of this in one side. So investing in AI education is not just beneficial, it's imperative for national competitiveness. But I want us to speak about two different types of educations. There is fundamental knowledge, or fundamental education, and there is literacy. So fundamental knowledge, think of the mechanics, equipping individuals to build and innovate AI solutions. This is critical. This is the bedrock for technological advancement and innovation. AI literacy, equally important, focuses on understanding how to leverage existing AI tools and integrate them effectively. So while both are important, it really depends where you are and what your nation is trying to do or what you as a company are trying to do. It's important to prioritize fundamental education when it comes to Armenia and the work that we're doing. Why? Because it's the key to unlocking the nation's true competitive edge. And that's important distinction between where to invest when it comes to AI education. So what are we doing in this space? This is also, I'll spend a minute on the work that we're doing in this space. So we started AI since the inception, 2017, and from the outset we started talking about artificial intelligence. And it was great. It was misunderstood. We hosted the first machine learning conference in Armenia, September 2017. And I remember that media published it, that it was a conference on automobile industry because it had the word machine learning. So there was a lot of skepticism, but we laid the groundwork for AI in Armenia. We started with creating a military unit then in 2018, then establishing Science and Technology Angels Network, advanced research grants, which brings principal investigators from around the world to conduct pioneering research in Armenia. And all of this culminated in something that we call Generation AI holistic pipeline. And one of those things is Generation AI High School Initiative. So what is this about? We nurture a new generation of researchers and innovators. What we did is we went throughout Armenia, so we are in 15 public schools. I want to emphasize that this is public initiatives. We do this with the Ministry of Education and Science. So this is in public schools. We're in 15 schools, 350 plus students in 7 regions. They just finished the first year. We were very super excited because we also wanted to see how they did the last year. So we did an examination for us to test how they did with other high schools in the region, but also around the country in this. And I'm very pleased to say that our students did phenomenal. So now we're scaling vertically. We'll have the 9th graders to be part of this. We'll have, instead of 350, next year we'll have roughly about 700 students or so. And then from 2025, we'll start expanding horizontally, so we'll have a lot more students, possibly 20, 25, not students, sorry, schools. And then with an idea for the next 4 or 5 years to have roughly about 10,000 high school students in 10, 11, and 12th grade studying artificial intelligence. So this is something that is important for us, but we're not going to stop there. For us, part of this pipeline also, we're going to go into universities to create programs in universities, undergrad, masters, PhDs, and then go down. And we're already talking to some of our partners for us to do this in middle schools as well. But we also put focus on, as I said, gender equity. Only because, so this is what it looks like right now when it comes to AI professionals around the world. Well, as I said in an opening, without diversity, you're not going to get the best potential in AI, and it's true here as well, in AI space as well. First, what do we do ourselves? So this is some things about our organization. So we have nearly 80% of our staff women, and actually today I think we have 5 or 6 people from our team here, and I'm the only male, everyone else is female. So it's like, we're representing that here too, and I promise you that was not in any way designed as such. And in our research, so we sponsor roughly about 80 scientists or so, over 50% of them are women. So this is also something very inspiring for us. We also launched this program. We've been speaking about this for years, Women Innovators. And I think we have some of you here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you're in this audience. But okay, so we have some. Who's here from women? Oh, we have plenty of you. Wow. All right. So congratulations. We're glad. I think you're going to see them. You're going to see them on the stage next few days as well. They're going to be showcasing their ideas and stuff that they're working on. I think it will be phenomenal to see how we are bringing STEM education, not STEM education, but understanding STEM and turning that into entrepreneurial engagements through women as well. So the last, I wanna close this. Don't fear AI. And what I mean here by lead it, so it's going to reshape work. The question is, are you part of that reshaping process or not? Can we as humans really work alongside AI for us to break walls, push boundaries in progress? To help AI, and I think it probably already does to many of you already when you're using some of these AI tools. It helps you with decision making. I know it does for me. But also think of what we excel, creativity, critical thinking. But the future really belongs to those who harness AI strengths while applying human insight. If we guide AI's development, we can achieve unprecedented advancements. I don't think it's a threat, but it's a challenge. And challenge for us to evolve as species and excel. So I would encourage for us to harness it, to guide it, to grow with it. Because the future is not going to be anything that we've seen in the past. Hence, it's the future. But this future is also accelerated. It's not going to be the way we think that we need to progress as species. And really, this is something, remember, as I said, these are computing systems that are mimicking human intelligence. So they're trying to be us, and we're building them. So they're trying to be us and better than us, and we're building them. They're trying to make us more productive, more effective, more efficient, and we're building them. So while we build them, we also need to understand what type of a role that we envision ourselves. Are we participating in the process as creators, as innovators, or are we just users? If you're users, we stay there in perpetuity. If you're creators, then really there is nothing to really worry about. Just lead it and expect a world that's going to be super great for you, for your kids, and everyone else. Thank you very much. Thanks for this opportunity.